All right, thanks for tuning in and welcome back. So, your girl Deja got a news flash for your ass today. We got Tucker Carlson tonight. You know what I mean? This motherfucker, he always keeping it real. That's why I like that. All right, so we have Jimmy Hill from Disney. Remember this chick from Disney? All cute, innocent now, and this chick wound up growing up to be a bitch. All right, so Jimmy Hill tweeting, Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. Really? Are you fucking kidding me? I guess you're not getting enough ratings on your show, ESPN, so you really gotta act stupid. Okay, so she also tweeted, no, the media doesn't make it a threat. It is a threat. He has empowered white supremacists. See Charlottesville. Bitch, like seriously? Now, we need to sit down and have a chat because you really fucking up. Well, ESPN statement on Jamil Hill, they had the nerve to say, the comments on Twitter from Jamil Hill regarding the president do not represent the position of ESPN. We have addressed this with Jamil and she recognized her actions were inappropriate. Inappropriate? Bitch, are you fucking kidding me? See, this is why y'all ratings at ESPN is going down. Because y'all motherfuckers just ain't got enough balls. See, she ain't gonna be there long, I guarantee you. You know, every time an anchor person wanna sit there and try and get their 5-10 minutes of fame, their ass is fired. Oh yeah, so bitch, you might as well just continue to enjoy those checks because they about to get cut. And as we say on this channel, love, peace, and hair grease.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. You probably thought ESPN stood for Entertainment and Sports Programming Network. Increasingly, it looks like endless, stupid political nagging. The network has already drawn ridicule, rightly so, for pulling football announcer Robert Lee off a UVA football game because his name bore some resemblance to that of a dead Confederate general. But it gets better. Now, ESPN commentator Jamel Hill has gone on a bizarre Twitter rant, writing, among other things, this: Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. In one of more than a dozen follow-up tweets, she added that, quote, Trump has empowered white supremacists, see Charlottesville. People noticed this. Today, and ESPN released a statement in response saying this, quote, the comments on Twitter from Jamel Hill regarding the president do not represent the position of ESPN. We have addressed this with Jamel, and she recognizes her actions were inappropriate. Whatever that means. Well, Clay Travis may know what it means. He covers all this as a reporter on Fox Sports. He also writes at OutkickTheCoverage.com, and he joins us tonight. So, Clay, what exactly does that mean, we've addressed it with an anchor? Is that punishment?
It means that nothing actually happened because Jamel Hill is saying what the higher-ups at ESPN believe. I think this goes all the way to the top, Tucker. Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, follows 59 people on Twitter. One of them is Jamel Hill. And I think what has happened is Disney and ESPN have decided we want to be a left-wing sports network. And so if a guy like Curt Schilling comes out and he says, oh, I disagree with the North Carolina transgender bathroom law, he gets fired. If a guy like Mike Ditka says, I don't think Barack Obama was a good president and I'm voting for Donald Trump, he gets fired. But if Jamel Hill comes out and says that Donald Trump's a white supremacist, the only reason he got elected president is because he's white and that all of his supporters are effectively bigots, she gets rewarded, she gets wrapped on the knuckles, she continues to do her show because Bob Iger and John Skipper, the CEO of Disney and the president of ESPN, agree with her and want left-leaning politics to be the forward-facing front of ESPN.
Yeah, remember when Glenn Beck said something like that about Barack Obama and the world stopped and everyone denounced him immediately? Is there a huge market for left-wing sports analysis?
Well, the easy answer, Tucker, would be look at ESPN's ratings. They're collapsing. Another idea would be look at their business model. They've lost 13 million subscribers in the past few years, and they're alienating their core audience, which is guys and girls who just want to pop a beer and watch a football game. They don't want to hear that Colin Kaepernick is a modern-day Rosa Parks. They don't want to hear, Tucker, that someone like Caitlyn Jenner is a hero that everyone should aspire to be, or that Michael Sam, because he likes to sleep with men, is a modern-day Jackie Robinson. Those are things that ESPN wants to sell. That's why I call them MS ESPN. And look, no, it's not a strong business strategy. I always like to point to Michael Jordan, guy who became a billionaire because he's good at putting a ball in a basket and good at dunking the basketball. Remember what he said? Republicans buy sneakers too. Well, if ESPN were smart, they wouldn't be going to war with conservatives and Republicans and Donald Trump voters. They would be acknowledging that that should be the backbone of their brand. Instead, they're pushing them away, saying that you're white supremacist, you're not welcome here. I don't know how people who voted for Donald Trump can feel comfortable at all watching ESPN when they know the values that that network espouses and how unwelcome their own values are.
No, they sound like the sociology department of Bennington College. I mean, so out of touch with America. There have to be people at ESPN, though, who understand this is a terrible business decision. Are there? Do they speak up? Are they taken seriously?
They do. They do speak up, Tucker, and they speak out to me. If you remember, I broke the Robert Lee story, and the reason why I broke that story was not because I got some errant email sent to me. It was because people inside of ESPN were tipping me off. I broke the story about them firing 100 people. I hear that they're going to fire another 100 people here soon because the business is collapsing around them, and because what the analogy that I use, Tucker, is ESPN faces a lot of difficulties in the modern era of cord cutting and every other aspect of their business. But they have decided, instead of treading water, which was already going to be difficult, let's see what will happen if we hold this gigantic rock over our head, which is left-wing politics. Maybe that'll actually keep us from drowning. Instead, it's making them drown faster, and they don't seem smart enough to recognize it. It's an absolute joke.
Yeah. I was about 40 before I realized a lot of the people in charge are just not very competent. This is another example. Clay, thanks for reporting on this. It's nice to have someone with the facts, and you have them. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all having me. Thanks a lot.
Jordan Murdoch is a contributing editor at National Review Online and a keen observer of things like this. He joins us tonight. Jordan, good to see you.
Good to see you, Tucker.
So what do you make of this, the turn left by ESPN? Who's being served here?
Well, I think just to balance it out, maybe you might want to give out some last-minute sports scores or something like that.
That's a good point. That's not what I do, so I don't get into it.
I mean, yeah, people are looking for sports. They don't watch your program or Hannity, and people should be able to turn to ESPN and get sports scores and play-by-play, and not have to listen to all of the controversies and hair pulling that occupy our country everywhere else outside of sports programming.
I think that's a fair point, and it's not just political, and it's certainly not subtle. I mean, what Jemele Hill said is really hard-edged stuff. I don't think it's supported by the facts, but she's basically impugning the character of a huge percentage of the country. Why?
Very much so. Look, it's all part of this anti-Trump narrative that he's a white supremacist and therefore he's a racist, therefore you can't cooperate with him, and he should be run out of office at the earliest given opportunity. And of course, this is not held up by the facts. As we sit here speaking right now, President Trump is meeting with 6 members of the Senate, 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats. They're talking about tax reform. I assume that his Secretary of State, Steve Mnuchin, is there, and his Chief Economic Advisor, Gary Cohn. They're both Jewish. Now, how many white supremacists dine with Jews? Not very many, I don't think. Then you've got the fact that he campaigned last year in black neighborhoods. He went to a church in Detroit. He went to another one in Flint, Michigan. Kindly asked for the support of black voters, which is one of the very first Republicans I've seen actually do that. And in fact, he won 8% of the black vote. That's not a big number, but that's about a third more than Mitt Romney won back in 2012. He also won about 28% of the Hispanic vote, and about 32%, or about 1 in 3 Hispanic men. So you look at the way he campaigned and the way he's governed. President Trump has met with about a couple dozen presidents of the historically black colleges and universities, offered his support, opened up an office in the White House to support them. And you saw him just last week down in Houston, comforting the victims of Hurricane Harvey, including playing with and kissing black children. Again, not the kind of behavior you would expect out of a white supremacist. So this is just a great big left-wing lie, and it's all designed to advance their political agenda independent of the facts or reality or the truth.
It's a pretty divisive way to conduct politics. There are lots of things you could say about the Trump administration, some of them unflattering, but why always go to race? It's bizarre. This is not a new thing, though, on the left, the white supremacy claim. Last year, Hillary Clinton's campaign tried to suggest that the slogan, "Make America Great Again," was itself racist. Hillary just made that point again in this interview with Jane Pauley. You pointed out in a piece that they forgot a key fact. Bill Clinton once used that phrase as well. Watch, we got the tape.
I ask you to join with us today, to give me your hands and your hearts, to give me your prayers and your help. I believe that together we can make America great again.
How about that?
It's